Just come in here, Josh. I have it set up on the big screen. Have it all nice and set up for it. What? Why's the camera off? Okay.
I know. They picked their little hands in there.
My day started off great, man. My day started off with me spilling coffee all over my pants. Like legit, all on the crotch, all down here.
Should have got me some. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's gonna be on this call until 1 minute or so. All right.
I would even help just push training class back 15 minutes or something if possible.
Okay.
So that you don't miss anything, you know?
Oh, crap, I gotta email him the link. Okay, email him the link. I could do it through here.
Hey, I always just like to say
1:15. You could use the same link if you want. You could use the Veen Agency link, Ben.
Yeah, I ran training yesterday. You don't have no one in there, Jim?
No. I got, Alyssa, she's gonna do a test first. And then finish up. Yeah.
Oh, the camera keeps turning off for some reason. Oh, there we go. This thing is high HD.
Come on, man, this shit's spicy.
Good videos on it.
Mm-hmm. You put the red sauce on,
Yeah,
Drew.
you ain't lying, this is spicy. Josh knows I don't like spicy.
How's this look? This looks pretty good, huh? Looks like a tunnel.
Oh, this is what I asked.
All right, I just sent it to Brett.
Daquan's in the waiting room.
Waiting room, let's hit it up. Where's the waiting room at? See the room? I see the room and I am admitting all.
Blake is in a presentation.
Okay. This is recording, which is good. I'd recommend everybody to invest into a webcam. It takes 22 seconds to click on Amazon. If you want to, I'll just buy one for you and you can just pay me for it.
Oh, you know the picture?
Yeah, we're getting stuff done, you guys. If wait for you, it's me 27 over here. You know, we're gonna have gray hair and still be doing 20,000 a week talking about that picture we're gonna put on the wall. Remember we were gonna get that picture over there?
2 years later.
There we go. Gryska Agency has joined us.
What's up, man?
Yes, what's up?
Nada. Ready to rock and roll. Thanks for having me.
We're pretty much ready to rock and roll. Do we have everybody? Where's Nolan and Vince? Okay. I told him to not book anything for today.
I got to get that radio microphone.
Same as system. There, we should through the TV now. All right, guys. Well, I don't want to waste any of Brett's time at all. He's very, very busy, and I just want to start by thanking you, Brett, for taking the time to hop on the call. We got brand new agency here, a lot of young, hungry talent, very, very talented group of leaders here, and I couldn't think of anybody better for us to put some seeds and be the foundation of our agency, to have the training and the philosophies and the wisdom that you have, because you have, crushed this business. If you guys notice, he's been a top RGA in this company for rating on, like, I don't even know, I don't want to make you old, but like almost 10 years in a row, he's been the top RGA. And he partnered up, and Duran Oldham partnered up with him. And now he's solely in charge, as you guys know, of the whole entire operation. So Brett, he didn't volunteer. I kind of asked him, to spend some time with us, and he said, "What can we talk about?" So I said, training and leadership, guys. So, Brett, I appreciate you, man, definitely. And we're ready to take notes. I'm ready to take notes, man. So it's all yours, Brett. Thanks.
Cool. Can you just introduce your team and your positions?
Yeah. Okay. So we have in the room here, we have Gio. I'll turn the camera around. I'm not sure if you remember Gio Vaca. We got Gio. He's an MGA here. Gio has a GA in Vince, and he has a GA in Austin. And then Vince has a lot of essays. Vince has Daquan, Nolan, Matt Hunsberger. Who else? That's it. He has 3 essays, Vince. So Vince has a strong leg there. Austin has 1 essay right now, and that's Gio's squad. And then we have Drew is an MGA, just got promoted to an MGA. You want to move that chair a little bit? He just got promoted to an MGA, and he has a brand new GA and a brand new essay. His GA is Todd, and his essay is Kristen. And Kristen's on the call with Todd, probably over there as well. Make sure Todd's on so he can hear all this. And then he has a young crew of Thomas, Waylon, and this young guy has already brought in a bunch of people. So he has this guy who's probably going to get promoted. He's like an SA bullpen type of guy. And then Josh in the back is the RGA over Drew.
Nice.
And Josh also has his own MGA team as well, where his is a little different because we have this gentleman, Ryan Haynes, who just recruits tons of people into the business. So he's the GA, but he's also a DJ, and he's a music artist, and he's in industry and does all kind of stuff like that. So he's using all his connections and social media to just make posts and get hires. So he's the GA, so Josh has to make up that gap there's really not a GA doing GA work besides getting a bunch of hires. So Josh is kind of helping with the training, but he has an SA, Blake, who Ryan recruited. So Ryan recruited Blake. Now Blake's the SA, and Ryan's recruiting all the people and putting them under Blake. And Josh and Blake are helping run his MGA team right now.
Very
If that
cool.
makes sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Cool. Is that everybody?
Is that everybody? Am I missing anybody?
All right.
No.
All right. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I have unlimited time today, so if you guys want me to shut up at some point, just tell me to shut up, and I'll let you carry on with your day. I do want to give you a little bit of background of how I got to where it is that I'm at, and Duran. I think anytime we're talking about training, it's so important that you understand why Duran was who he was, why we're the top agency. And if you go to the F3 report, we're the top agency with agent retention, top agency with training in New York State. And the reason for that is Duran and his former, I don't know if you all know, but Duran passed away in November. He died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Still can't believe, I try to say it fast so I don't get teared up, but it's 13 weeks and gone. He was about to retire in a couple of years. His renewals, his wife will receive next summer $226,000 a month in residual income. The guy built an absolute legacy, but his former life prior to this was he was a survival instructor and a professional interrogator at the prisoner of war camp for the Air Force. So if you want to talk about being a little nervous coming into work every day, it was a little bit scary, but his specialty was he trained pilots, it's called SEER school, to survive, escape, resist, and evade. That was his job. He had a new crew every single week. And if you look up the story of Scott O'Grady, who's actually become a really good friend of mine, he was shot down. He was a fighter pilot shot down that survived in Bosnia, and Duran was his survival instructor. And when he came back from Bosnia, the first thing he said was, I need to find this Duran Oldham guy. He saved my life. And Duran, what he always taught us was time and circumstance training. You never know the thing that you're training when that's going to come up. So we've taken training extremely seriously. I think the company probably thinks that we take it almost to the extreme with training and what it is that we do, but it's so important that you understand why we do it. Duran's philosophy was, I would rather code less and have them stay than code a ton and just keep turning the wheel. So I've had a lot of discussions with Greer over the last few years. He's like, you know that you can do both, right? You can actually train and recruit. And if you do that, you're going to be deadly. You're going to have a deadly combination. But the story that always resonates with me with Duran, he was the first director in the company's history. So Roger Smith, when he took over as the president, he went and grabbed Duran at a leadership school and said, I want you to be my director. And Duran said, I'll do it under one condition. And that is that I get to go visit every SGA office. At that time, there was like 40, every SGA office, and see their systems, see what it is that they're doing before I can even work in this position. So he was at one of the offices and he got in. He used to always get in there before the SGA beat him to the punch. And he got into the office and there's a guy sitting in the corner and he's learning his presentation. And Duran's like, hey man, what's going on? What's up? And he's like, it's my first day. I'm going in the field. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I quit my job as a mechanic to come in here and it's going to be amazing. SGA finally shows up. Duran goes in and shuts the door. He's like, man, you got a really sharp guy out there ready to go. And the guy said, oh, that effing guy? That's just my mechanic. I just brought him in to be a code. And Duran was like, really? And he walked out of the office, called Roger Smith and said, do I have permission to go fire this guy? You know, I'm never going to work with an SGA that's their attitude with a human being. I always said code should be the word person. Imagine if we changed the word from code to person. How many people did you bring in this month? Now, how many people did you code on a piece of paper? How many people did you bring in? So that's kind of where I come from. We take training extremely seriously. And I kind of want to walk through some of the systems of our training and how it is that we do our training. There's some very, very key things that we do. One, every single presentation, now that it's on Zoom, is recorded and uploaded to myself, the SGA, and our corporate trainer. So every single presentation is uploaded. They use YouTube or Dropbox, and we have a link, and we go in and we review every single presentation. I don't know if you all were on the call, probably not. I think it's SGA's only for that call, but Greer made a great analogy. Your kids sit in the back seat of your car for 15, 16 years, and then it's time for them to drive. Do we just hand them the keys over? Go get in the car. Go ahead, you're good. You watched me for 16 years. You watched me. You sat in that back seat for 16 years. You should be ready to go, right? Think about how many people would die if that were to be the case. We put them through school. We put them through driver's education. We sit right next to them. We go to a parking lot first, and we put them in the driver's seat. So our whole goal over watching those videos and checking in is to make sure that they are participating at the level that they're supposed to be participating. The biggest mistake that I see early on, especially as a new essay or a new GA, is you come up with 50 reasons why you think you should be doing the presentation. Oh, this one was a child safe. They hadn't ran a child safe yet. Oh no, this person was hard to control, so I had to step in and make sure that I do the presentation. Duran used to say, every time you open your mouth, when they're supposed to be participating, you're taking away their confidence and you're detracting from training. Every single time. I mean, think about what his job was to do. His job was to make sure a fighter pilot on their worst day was able to escape and evade the enemy and be interrogated. We're teaching them how to sell life insurance. It's not that crazy. And I promise you, the reverse works. The more they participate, the more they do, the more their confidence increases, the more that they get to the level they need to be. You know, we will not release anybody unless they've made 4 sales start to finish on their own. I don't know, how long's your training, Tommy? Are you 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, 9 weeks, 2 weeks? Okay. So probably the same thing that we do. We do observation day, 25%, 50%, 75%. Well, if you think about that, 75% for us, so 75% would be their first Saturday. 75% for us is everything but the application. So from the start of their first Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, they should be giving every single presentation start to finish, unless you do some sort of cross present. So our system is observation 25, 50, 75. Then we do cross pitch, 100%, 100%. And we finish on their lead pack. But every single presentation is uploaded, and then they have to give us what they think is their best presentation that they have. And that's going to be their release meeting. All right. We have a field training report. Tracks every single thing, every single presentation. It's a good report. It's solid, but it's not the end all be all. It's what are they doing? How much are they presenting? How many referrals did they get? Can they turn a cycle? Can they give a presentation, get a referral, and turn that referral into a sale? If that happens in training, training's over for me. If I have an agent that can present to a brand new customer, get them to trust them enough to give them a name, and then they can turn that name into a sale in the next couple of days, training is over. What else do I need to teach them? They know how to set a lead. They know how to present to a lead. They're strong enough where they built enough rapport where that person will give them referral, and then they can get into making a sale. So That 2-week training process, it's so important. It depends on what level you're at. You know, if you're Tommy, he needs to be engaged with every single trainee. If you're an SA or a GA, you got to make sure that you're overseeing each one of these training. These are new people to your family that you want to stay for a long time. What a waste of time. You train these people for 2 weeks. We know how hard that is. You train them for 2 solid weeks. They finally get released and they quit in a couple days. That's no fun. So write these down. These are our 4 milestones that we try to get them to achieve over the first 13 months. All right. The first milestone is a milestone. We call it instead of a release meeting, we got rid of that term. I was so sick and tired of people being released and the training stopped. You know, hey, fly, little birdie, you're released. I said, let's come up with a term that's less permanent. You know, like released, you're gone. We don't do anything with you anymore. So we came up with milestones. So their first milestone, we call it a milestone meeting number 1. That is what you probably call a release meeting. All right. In that meeting, I am setting up their next 90 days. All right. We're talking about personal recruits. We're talking about their presentation. We're questioning them on their training. You know, I'm calling out the SA and GA right there in that meeting. So they say, you made three sales on your own? No, I only made 1. What? Then why does your report say 3? Talk to me about this. Walk me through it. You know, I want to get a really good gauge of this person and where it is that they're heading. So their next assignment, if I say, yes, you've completed your first milestone, for their first 30 days, they write us an email every single night. And the title of the email is what day number it is. So if they worked that day, they were a part of this business that day, their email answers 3 questions. 3 questions only. It should take them 5 minutes to do. Question 1, what were your results for the day? Question 2, what problems or challenges did you face? Question 3, do you have any questions for Tommy or your MGA or RGA? This email is going to tell you a lot about this person. All right. Are they doing it? How much effort do they put into it? And what's so awesome for us is to watch them evolve from that email is, you know, a whole bunch of questions and this happened and that happened to they get to day 28, 29, and it's, I wrote 2,700 in ALP, no problems or challenges, no questions for my MGA. That's when you can really see the progress and follow that person. All right, back up 1 step because I missed a step. Prior to their milestone meeting with me, I have an email that outlines the answers to these questions. 1, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on your phone skills? And why? All right, if they suck on the phone, they can't be released. Right? It's impossible. How are they going to present to people if they can't set an appointment? The second thing, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your overall presentation and why? And this is a great exercise because they're self-evaluating themselves. 3, how do you rate yourself on an application, speed and time? We want an application less than 30 minutes. 1 to 10, and why? 4, evaluate your field trainer. Evaluate your SA, evaluate your GA. I have a ball with those answers sometimes. 5, evaluate your classroom instructor, your corporate trainer. And then 6 is any other additional feedback that you can give us over training. So I get that prior to the milestone meeting. After the milestone meeting, they're going to start that first 30-day email. Now, the next thing that happens is their second milestone meeting. It's called getting to your second milestone. Their second milestone is 90-day class that we hold. So for the next 90 days, every Thursday at 3 p.m., they have a call with me if you're in your first 90 days. So that would be Tommy or maybe your top RGA. And it's just, I have Q&A to start, anything that I can help them with. and then I finish with some sort of topic that day. It's either going to be phone training, presentation, referrals, or closing. Phone training, presentation, referrals, closing. Phone training, presentation, referrals, closings. That's it. That's all I cover. If they can do those 4 things, we're good. I don't want to oversimplify it. One of the best quotes I ever heard is, when you can make the complicated simple, you've mastered it. You know, most people make the simple complicated, especially in this business. But I don't know how to fill out that form. Okay, that'll take us 30 seconds to figure that bad boy out. All right, so now they're on their journey. Now I'm looking at their numbers every single week. They're with me till 90 days. At 90 days is their second milestone. We hold a 90-day class with anybody who just completed their first 90 days. It's every single month, once a month. That's with my corporate trainer, myself, and our head of conservation. We do a lot of, dream building in this. We do a lot of, at this point, they're starting to get policy modifications. We teach them that stuff, advance reports, P&P reports. It's just a nice little box to check. Their third milestone is, are you going to get into leadership, or are you going to continue down the sales route? And what's the plan? Now, technically, the third milestone could come earlier. There's somebody that's just killing it. You want to get them into leadership immediately, especially with a startup where you all are at. You want to get leaders as quick as you possibly can. You identify them early so they technically can hit that third milestone before that one. But that's an important conversation. Because how many times, raise your hand if you had somebody quit, says, I couldn't do this the rest of my life. There's no way I could do this the rest of my life. I can't pick up that phone anymore. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want you to do it the rest of your life. That's why we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to either teach you how to get this done in 3 days, or I'm going to teach you how to build a team so you don't even have to go in the field anymore. We're all liars if we say our goal isn't to get out of the field. And if our goal isn't to make money, I'm here to help people. Money doesn't matter to me. All right. That comes way later than right now. Way later than right now. That comes at the level, yes, you're there to help people, but I can assure you, you wouldn't do it for free. Unless you're some millionaire that said, I want to go sell life insurance just to check a box. It's a bucket list for me. Fourth milestone is their first residual check. Should be month 13. Another super cool conversation. Every time somebody gets their first renewal check, I'm the first alert, because I want to have that conversation with them. Do you realize what this means? This $323. You don't ever have to pay your car payment ever again for the rest of your life. How freaking cool is that? This year, we've trained 183 people. We've kept 97. Our agent count went from 75 to 152. Those are super huge numbers, but you guys can do, I'm looking at your team right now. You all can do that right now. I've never seen it where you can train better than right now. It used to be, Dron's probably rolling over in his grave. The only way that you were allowed to train 2 is if you were an MGA. Now you're getting you're getting everything from you. I can have 2 people on the screen. I can have their screen off. I can have them sitting next to me and training 2. So if you all have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of you, and you could train 2 and you do it every 2 weeks, you all should be coding 44 a month. 44 people a month. You want to see that deal go from, what do you guys have, 30, 40, Tommy? A week? Give or take? I can't wait to hear it through this microphone. That DJ mic. Can't hear it. It says you're muted.
Okay, we are muted. We are muted through the Zoom. Okay, we're between 20 and 30 right now.
Between 20 and 30. Can you imagine adding 44 people next month? Because you all have something right now that probably only 5% of the people have in the entire company. You're at the ground floor of a deal. At some point, there's going to be a time where you can't even have a conversation with Tommy. He's so busy. your people won't know him. You're at the cool part. This is the fun. This is the part where you look back and go, holy cow, this was the fun. Like, oh my God. And that's the last thing I'll leave you with. Enjoy this time. This, believe me, is the fun part. When I go back and look at my career, this is my 15th year. My renewals are over $100,000 a month. And when I look back at my career, I don't go, this is the fun time. This is cool. You know, it's new, but I lost my business partner. It's not, you know, I don't have my buddy over there anymore like I used to have. I look back at the times when we were building, when you walked into the office and there was nobody there. And then eventually what's going to happen is the lineage of Simon, you know, you're going to see Simon numbers there. You know, there's no reason, there's no excuses now. Literally, you can't have an excuse now. You can't tell me anything and give me an excuse now. I'm struggling with recruiting. Really? You can recruit out of 46 states. You can personally recruit out of 46 states right now. Okay, what's your next excuse? Oh, we don't have leads. What? You can get leads anywhere. Anywhere, 46 states, you can go get leads, as long as you have a personal recruit attached to it. Oh, the drive is terrible. Drive? What drive? There's no driving anymore. The snow in Chicago, it's too tough for us, the Bears. We can't go to the game. You don't drive in the Chicago area? You don't drive anymore. There's no Chicago. I don't know if that was a good Chicago accent or not. I always talk to Bob Olson. I'm like, what is that thing? You know, so right now, Duran used to always tell me the pendulum always goes the other way. Right now is the time it's hot. People are buying at a 47% rate. You know, if you master that show ratio, please let me know. And if we can get that bad boy to 50, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine where we would be right now. People are buying. People are answering the phone at the highest rate they've ever answered. I looked at our data the other day. I was like, are you kidding me? It used to take us 22 phone calls to book an appointment. It's 11 now. Half the amount of phone calls to book an appointment. You know, so you've got to really dig down deep right now. If you're not successful during this time period, then something's wrong. But don't forget the fun of it. Don't forget the excitement of building. And don't forget that training is, to us, you know, some agency it's not, you know, to us is the absolute most important thing. Duran on his deathbed, 4 or 5 weeks from his deathbed, Simon came and visited, and he asked him a question. He said, you know, I'm writing about 400,000 a week. You know, I'm writing close to $20 million a year. I feel like I've hit a very cool groove in my point. What advice? He said, I would be remiss to not ask you for advice, you know, with such a legend that you are and stuff. And Duran sat there and just walked him through our training systems. I mean, this is when he's, you know, 7-8 weeks into dying, and he's sitting across from Simon going, have you ever taken training seriously? You know, have you ever looked into boom, 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 boom? And it was not even a week later, Simon's on a call with me as assistant and as head of training, and we're going through every single system that I just went through with you all. So I'll open up to questions. Any questions you have for me, I'll gladly take an answer, and I hope I'm helping you all out. I hope I didn't overwhelm you either, because we have a lot of crazy training stuff. That was like 5% of what we do.
So Gio has a question beforehand, though. The calls to sets, I think we're probably floating, when I look at our data, it's always between like 20 and 30 calls to set. So that's kind of what we're tracking. So I talked to Simon the other day, and he's like, it's 900 calls a week, man, to get 30 set, because he's like, it's 30 calls to get a set. So that's kind of what we're on right now. We're pushing to get 900 calls in a week, you know, which is like 200 to 300 on a Monday, 200 to 300 on a Thursday, and then 100 calls per field day while we're out there, and that'll put it up. But I don't know, what do you think is contributing to you guys getting maybe a pretty good call to set ratio?
I think we're very good at changing up the times. I think sometimes we get in our American income, national income bubble where we call from 4 to 9 on Mondays and 4 to 9 on Thursdays. And that's when we call. We've done a lot of our shift to what you guys probably have done too, but we do a lot of our calls from 9 until noon in the morning. We've moved our call sessions around, but you got to realize also we're upstate New York. We have a huge union population. All right. It's not, a lot of the child safe, will kit lead like that. We have that same data we have for our third party or our, third party vendor leads. We have that same data for those. We have a lot of POS that we run. So you guys are up and building so that it makes sense that yours would be higher. And I know Simon does a lot of third party leads as well, which take a little bit to answer. We do a lot of Google Voice. So a lot of them are making their calls on, through Google Voice or whatever the hell it's called, where you change your phone number and then they're resolving the lead just on their computer. So they have their laptop open. So they're not calling through their cell phone on Impact. They're calling through their laptop and making sure that they're resolving their calls on there. But I think it's probably the strength of the lead and changing up call times.
Awesome. Thank you. Gio had a question?
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Can you hear me from here?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. My microphone really is good. Hey, first and foremost, thank you for your time. Obviously, we all appreciate that. You've had an immense amount of success in the business. A lot of the training definitely very interesting. I just wanted to ask, you said that your renewals right now are 100,000 a month. Is that what you said? 100,000 a month. Now I know there's a lot of things that were responsible for 100,000 a month. But if you were to give advice to not only me, just the team, what do you think was the biggest thing that held and made that a thing? 100,000 a month, that's huge. So do you think it was producing? Do you think it was building the teams? Like what was the biggest thing you think?
Well, first off, you need to know as an SGA, you don't get released that money until you retire. So it's not like I'm just sitting. If I was getting 100 grand a month, I might not be on this call. But you're building to get to that level. Big part of it is New York State. The residuals are higher in New York State because we don't have the contracts you have. So the highest contract level I have is 70. So the company, I'm a 99. I'm not 125, 135 like Tommy. So he's got a higher upfront money. I get way less upfront than he gets, but still, if all things being equal, if I was American Income SGA, I'd probably be at 70 a month. I think I would, I say this to my managers all the time. There's two things. You need to develop a number two, and you need to become Tommy's number two. Make yourself irreplaceable. Make yourself irreplaceable. Where Tommy can't function unless he has Gio. And that's what I did with, Duran had a partner before me. His name was Jim Bianchi. I became his right-hand person to the point where I'm not going to say I drove him out of the business, but he's doing fine. He retired at about 130,000 a month, but I knew that there was a point where
He's probably fishing right now.
He's probably fishing for sure. He knew that I was the next up and coming and that I had surpassed him. But all I did, I swear, for my first 5 years, I came into this office, which was Jim's, and bugged him until he threw me out. Then I went into Duran's office and bugged him until he threw me out. And then I came back in and back in and back in and back and forth to the point where they'd be like, dude, we got to go today. Like, did you get enough? Like, it was nonstop questions. I wanted to be where, like I said, Tommy can't function unless he has you. And when you do that, everything changes because now he can't literally function and he's got you. And the choices at that point are to, move your career further and you go become an SGA, or, maybe there's a partnership opportunity later on where you go to another state and you partner with them. And because the renewals are in the SGA contract, we know that, as an MGA, of those renewals, 20,000 of them are when I was an MGA RGA, which that's not bad either. But the renewals are in the SGA contract. So make yourself irreplaceable, develop your number two. But when you develop your number two, develop your backup number two and your backup number two and your backup number two, because I can tell you right now, I'm feeling the pain of not having a number two. Duran always told me, gotta have a number two. Now I've got a bunch of RGAs that are awesome, bunch of MGAs that are awesome. I got some people in the works, but I don't have somebody where I go, hey, I'm going out of town, run the deal. I don't have that right now. And, so my own advice, I'm telling you that I don't have it. And I'm working on it right now. April 1st is the plan to get that person in place. But it's stressful when you don't have a number two. So you become his number two, guess what happens? His face gets tanner because he's gone a lot more. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you for elaborating on that. That's huge.
Get Tommy to the beach. I know he's happy you're there.
Love it. Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Brett, guys? Don't be shy.
You can add, it doesn't need to be training. It can be anything. I mean,
So when they're for just recording every presentation, and they're letting the client know upfront that they're going to be recording it?
Yes. So I'm not going to tell you guys that I told you to do this, but I told you guys to do this, is we should record every single presentation that's been going on, because Brett told this to us on a call 2 weeks ago, and I told you guys about this. So anyways,
you have no choice.
they want to know how do you record it with the clients is what their concern is do you let the clients know, or what do you tell them?
You have no choice. It's blinking recording in their screen like mine is right now. So you have to tell them. And if worst came to worst, you've got the recording. Look, it was on there. They could see that it was recording. We used to record every presentation on cell phone in the house, and we used to upload them to Dropbox. But just let them know, hey, just so you know, this is a training. To me, it makes sales. This is a training environment right now. So we're going to be recording this. We only use it for training purposes only. And that's true. I'm never going to tell a customer if they call in and say, no, I didn't do that. Well, actually, I have the recording of you saying exactly that. You can't do that. So this is for training purposes only. And now it kind of gives that breath of fresh air for the trainee. They know that, hey, I'm the trainee. I can't tell you how many sales we made. And I'm like, hey, take it easy on them. They're new. We're going to try to go as fast as we can today and get out of your hair as fast as they can. But we are going to record this so we can review it afterwards and make sure that they're getting better. It's no big deal. We record about 500 every 2 weeks. So
Huge. That makes absolute sense. And
it's holding you accountable. To me, if I'm being recorded, I'm not swearing on this thing today because I see it's being recorded. It holds you accountable to a better presentation. It holds you accountable to a better training. And, you're going to make more sales when you're being recorded, believe it or not, because you're going to stay more to script and be more on your game.
Like nightly, weekly, how do they?
he said, you have a system for reviewing them? Is there nightly review session or morning, weekly?
I
Do you
have
a time?
I have a corporate trainer. She reviews them every day, and then she calls each person individually and talks to them. I once in a while will pop in and just watch them just to make sure we're still on point. One of the biggest things that will be an issue for you all is if Gio's doing one presentation and Todd's doing another presentation and Vince is doing another presentation, you all have to be on the exact same presentation when you're training. Screw up the whole thing. Anybody else?
I remember when I would go to the homes, I would use it to my advantage and tell the clients, hi, I'm a manager in the area. I have one trainee with me. He's in my car. He's going to be sitting in on the meeting. Was that okay? And it would just make you look like a boss. So we use the same thing. I'm a manager. I'm going to be doing some training with some of my trainees. Drew's going to be sitting in. This is going to be recorded for training purposes. Just wanted to let you know. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So unless you want to type a script up for, I think we pretty much ad-lib that one,
You all are competent and can handle that. The worst thing is they say, hey, we don't feel comfortable recording. Turn it off.
Do you have to shut off the recording at the combo app or during a social or a driver's license or anything?
I don't think we do. No.
Yeah. I don't think you have to. Yeah. I don't think you have.
If you want to, you can. Again, it's just.
But after they fill out the app, that's when I do rated risk and solidification is after they fill out the app. So we would need that on that video. You know, the most important thing is going to be the wrap up, how they're wrapping the sucker up.
After sale referrals.
After sale referrals, VIBs, huge.
And he has somebody who watches them.
Yeah, he has a
I got a-
corporate trainer.
I got a question.
Yeah.
And again, like Gio said, thank you for your time. And we really appreciated this today. A lot of insight that was very eye-opening for how specific you are with the training process here. My question is, you know, when you were starting off, or when you were an MGA, or you were in charge of putting in place a lot of these systems for the trainees, were you more strict, like, you know, this is the schedule, if you're late 3 times, you're out, you know, no excuses for this, or are you somebody that, because you talked about you'd rather code quality people, have quality people in the fewer masses than have a lot of people who are, you know, just running around like crazy? And, you know, where do you draw, I guess my question is, like, where do you draw the line of, like, telling somebody it just ain't, you just ain't cutting it, we've had enough, and it's now starting to become more of a waste of time to all the trainers and everybody else, because we're just not seeing it on your end 100%, and we have plenty of other people that are giving it 100%? Or do you just always give everybody all you can till they force themselves out?
It's a combination of both, but we do what's called the talk. You know, it's in our training, it's in our training manual, it's in our systems, where the first conversation that you're going to have with me as your trainer, or with Tommy, even better, if Tommy can do it with you both. Like, if that's like they start on a Monday and you got 5 people starting, if Tommy can do every single one of these, because you want Tommy to build you up. So if I'm like, all right, so Vince is going to be training you. Vince is our top guy. This is what it is that he does. This is what his specialty is. Here is how this 2 weeks is going to work. And I'm going to go through, I expect you to be early, not late. This is Zoom and you're sitting at home in most cases. All right. I expect you to put in 100%. I will put in 100%. I promise you that. But if you're not meeting me in the middle with your percentage, this ends. It's over. No discussion. You know, Durano's, has any of those people ever worked out? No. The answer is no. It's always no. So you're just wasting your time more and more and more. You're even wasting your time even more, which Tommy's going to hate this comment, if you code them and then they go, because it's just hurting your results. It's hurting your thing. I would much rather go get a better person and trade. You got 2 trainings, like you got 2 shots a month. So I always deal from, we have an agency creed, and like the 3rd line of the agency creed is always deal from strength. You know, if you're not going to be on time, I expect a text message. I expect a phone call. I expect communication. You know, you're basically giving them the riot act the first day. And I've had people bail right then and there. That's okay. I'd much rather get them out now. It makes absolutely no sense. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought I'd work from home and blah, 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 blah. You know, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, but it's way better if Tommy does it. That way you're not the bad guy. And then he can build you up in that. Here's what Vince has done. This is what Vince's career is. This is where we're at. You know, it's what we all do in American. I get on the call and it's like, Brett is the greatest. He's man, you know, training, everything's awesome. I want to do that for my people. I want to lift them up. I want to make sure that they're recognized at the level they need to be recognized. But at the end of the thing, we're clear on it and we understand that we're clear. Now, in all reality, 1 time late, am I firing them? No. 2 times, yeah. Later, see ya, peace. Because if you're late, you had the option to communicate with me. If you knew you were going to be late, if they communicate, I got no problem with it. You know, if they say, hey, I don't know what excuses you could have now if you're not in traffic. Hey, man, my kid threw up this morning and I'm not going to be on the call till 9:05. Is that okay? But if they hop on at 9:05, 25 minutes after they're supposed to be, that tells me that they're an irresponsible person. They knew they had the meeting. And they hoped, which is what, when we were driving and out on the roads, they hoped that they would get there on time. Instead of being proactive and saying, hey, I'm running a few minutes late, being transparent and upfront. So we expect 4 things: 28 appointments a week, 2,500, honest and positive. That's it. We'll get along great. 28 appointments, 2,500, honest, positive. So proactively hit it. Most of the stuff we end up being reactive and reacting instead of responding, which a response is way better than reacting. You're late. Versus, hey man, remember the first day when we talked and I said, I'll give you 100%. You give me 100%. We'll meet in the middle. I don't feel like I'm getting 100%. You feel that way too? Yeah, you're probably right. Probably should end this, right? Yeah, we know the ending to the story. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Don't go firing everybody. But,
Uh,
yeah, Duran always said it's easy to fire, it's hard to inspire.
Can't do that when I didn't set the stage like you did first. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not.
But moving forward, no, I'm just joking.
Moving forward, you can fire him a lot quicker now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I got plenty of time. And this is way more fun than what I'm about to do when I'm done, which is go look at emails and.
I guess
I mean-
I'll throw one more at you.
Hey.
Oh, did someone just go?
Go ahead, Vince.
Okay. When we're starting off and we're all new and it's just a handful of MGAs and their GAs and SAs, but we all have a large pipeline ourselves that we're trying to attend to and keep in line. Did you guys find more results in sharing? Like, we hire somebody, like, okay, they have to meet Gio and talk like this and this day I want them to kind of talk to Tommy for a second, or is it just, hey, you were hired with, the GA or that MGA, and you're probably really not going to run into too many people for the first couple of weeks. It's just going to be me and you. Like, is there a system that you have for that where you always force a certain amount of, okay, you were just hired, Mr. Mina wants to talk to you for 10 minutes or things like that, or how did you find the best results with the people when after they were hired, and just was it smarter to introduce them to everybody and try to get them as most involved as you can, even though that's pretty hard,
Yeah.
or no?
Duran, standing order when he trains somebody. If I
Yeah.
ever see you getting advice from somebody outside of me or my SGA, so it'd be you and Tommy, then you're out. Because what happens, that causes so many problems. This is why I love the virtual world. We don't have to worry about the inner office stuff, the people going out to lunch and then they quit because they went out to lunch and talked to Sparky, and Sparky didn't know what the hell he was talking about, but he got them to convince them that this is a bad opportunity for them. So it's one of those things where you just want to isolate them the best that you possibly can. Now, if you're, what's your position? You SA, GA?
GA.
GA. So if you're a GA,
Yeah.
it should be your guy and Tommy. That's it. Or your guy, your MGA and Tommy. That's it. That's all the interaction they should have, because what happens is you've got a plan in place for them that you put in place. And then they go and talk to Gio, and Gio has a different plan for how he trains his trainees. And now your agent's confused. And when they get confused, they start to think that we're not being transparent. And when they think we're not being transparent, boom, they're gone. I've lost half of a training class before because of that, where they all exchanged phone numbers. They're texting each other back and forth. Perception's reality, but they say, oh man, did you hear Brett in the meeting today? Oh, he makes $100,000 in renewals. What a jerk. I mean, he doesn't care about us. We're the little people. And then bam, 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 you lose 10 people. So I tried to keep it within my hierarchy and Duran.
But you do make a point when they get hired to meet your hierarchy.
Oh yeah. They got to know who they're going to be working. Like for us, the MGAs do all the hiring. So the MGA does the hire. And then once they get into the pipeline, they are introduced to their field trainer.
Okay.
It's a little bit different with Zoom, but I love it because, like I said, you can isolate them even more. It's just you and them. And then when they get to talk to Tommy, it's like, ooh, you get to talk to Tommy today. It's going to be awesome. Or it's not going to be awesome. just shut up and listen.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hey, good
Yeah, I have a
question.
question as well.
Go ahead, Matt.
So this is kind of just in terms of my current position. You know, I'm a current SA. You know, I'm a young guy in the business. I'm 22 years old. Just graduated college. More or less, it's just kind of your advice for, you know, a young business professional joining this field. You know, myself, I have a few friends that are interested. You know, I have a few people that are currently in my pipeline, whether that's training and or, you know, going through the online course, getting ready to get, you know, prepared. Basically, I'm just looking for some advice with, you know, being, you know, a younger person in the field and, you know, dealing with, you know, a lot of people older than me, whether that's training or kind of just showing them the ropes. What's kind of your advice for kind of maintaining like that professional atmosphere with people older than me and, you know, people my age that like I have more of a friendly relationship when it comes to like the business world?
I started when I was 21. It's my first job out of college. I had all the same concerns. And Duran said to me, you know, fake it until you make it. You know, you got to carry yourself older. You've got to carry yourself as a business person. You've got to be, you know, you've got to be shaved. You've got to be gelled up. You know, we're leaning towards more professional attire on Zoom. You know, one of the things, Duran gave me a suggestion at one time, maybe get fake glasses just to make you look a little bit older. But, you know, when you know the product inside and out, it doesn't matter. They don't care how old you are. They don't even know how old you are, especially on Zoom. You know, when I would come into the houses, when I was done, I would say, so let me ask you a question. It was just for my own ego. Like, how old do you think I am? And they'd be like 35, 36. And I'm like, I'm 21. And they're like, holy cow, you carry yourself like you're almost 40. And now granted, I have no hair. I had less hair then, but as far as that goes, just, you know, I would read every single book you can possibly get your hands on for sales and leadership. And, you know, you don't have to, you can be 35 at 22. You know, learn from the mistakes of other people. That's what books are. This is what I did wrong. I can tell you as a future SGA, if you have a partner, you need to have your number 2 ready. I didn't do that. You know, that's a big mistake. If I were to write a book, that would be a big mistake that I made. As far as your people coming in the pipeline, you need to have Tommy build you up to them. They need to know that you're their boss. They need to know that a target is on their back because they're coming in under you. And that Tommy's going to be watching you a lot closer because you're a personal recruit of mine. When Steve Greer, I don't know if you all know this, but Steve Greer is Duran's personal recruit. So that's Duran's cousin that Duran worked over for a year straight, finally got him to come and work in. And Duran said, I'm going to need you to do it faster, quicker, on time. You're going to have a target on your back. You're my cousin. People are going to be looking for favoritism and all that, and you ain't getting it. So you need to have that talk with your people before they even get started. And I'd have them start competing in the pipeline. Who's going to know the script? I'm not training until you know the script. So there's 4 of you or 3 of you, whatever you've got. The best one's getting trained. If 2 of them happen to have it down cold, all right, then I can train 2 of you. But I would just read as much as you possibly. There's so much out there now. So much. We live in the best time ever. You don't have to go to the library and dig through books. I mean, you can listen to a book on whatever they're called now, audiobook, on tape. I keep saying on tape, but you can listen to them just in between appointments. It's awesome. And do it with your people when they start. Is this advice that he's already got? Oh, I thought you were laughing like that's he just got told this.
No, the tape. I love how you keep saying the tape.
Oh yeah, book on tape. Yeah, I'm old.
Great. That's great.
So yeah, just carry yourself older. You know, when I was 25, I was an MGA. When I was 26, I was an RGA over half of the state of New York. When I was 27, 28, I had 3/4 of the state. When I was 30, I had the entire state. And that's just how I would look at it. Why there's no age is no excuse for the information that's out there now. You know, I was picking Duran's brain as much as I can, but you know, as an SGA, one of the frustrating things is people not asking you for time. You know, just hound Tommy. I mean, the guy's one of the most successful RGAs in the history of the company. He smoked me every year. So, you know, just hound him and go after it. What is it we can do? How can we get stronger? How can I help you out? Is there anything that you need? You know, Duran gave me a book when I was 25 and it said, you can sleep when you're dead. Love, Duran. I was like, kind of ironic now, but you know, go after it. You're in your prime earning years. It's the best, youngest you'll ever be right now. Go after it.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Wow, wow. Awesome. Good questions, guys, as well. Really. Thank you, Brett, man. I'm gonna, unless you guys have, I don't, we could use and abuse you. We'll use and abuse them all we can while we got them, man. You know, get as much as you can when you can is what they say. So if we got anything else, you know, I don't want to end the meeting if somebody has another question, obviously. But I don't want to, you know, obviously just keep you on the call all day either, man. I know you got, you know, your own agenda. You got a lot of stuff to be going on as well. So your time is most valuable asset, and you gave it to us today, man. So we really appreciate that. But all your wisdom that came along with it, he didn't just give us, he gave us like, you know, 15 years of wisdom right there, you know, in 30 minutes or so, man. So thank you again, brother. Look
I got a
forward
quick
to
question
crushing
for
the
you.
competition. Oh, there he is. Quan, look at you.
You know I wasn't going anywhere without at least one.
Okay.
I got a good one. And so, you know, like everybody said, I definitely, you know, appreciate your time there, Brett, and, you know, commend you for a lot of the success you've had with American Income. Is it National Income in New York, right?
National income, yeah.
National. Okay, awesome. So, my question for you, because, like you said, and it's kind of along with like what Vince had mentioned, say, for example, in a leadership position, you have an agent that you see is, you know, not necessarily, given, you know, all he has. You know, you definitely know he has more in the tank, could definitely, you know, give a lot more, but he's kind of looking at you as like a leader, as if like you're not a suitable leader for him. How do you handle that situation, or have you ever had to handle that situation to where he felt like, because I'm pretty militant, I'm not gonna say you know what I mean, like I was in the military, grew up in a military household, so some people can say I can be pretty aggressive and straightforward. So how do you, have you ever dealt with that, or how would you manage that if you were in that type of situation?
First, thanks for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Duran, first 33 people he trained, all quit. He was militant. He was aggressive. He was all over them. And to the point where he said, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want to be in leadership. This isn't fun. And he just started personally producing. He held the company record for the most production in the history of a month. He did like 32,000 back then. That was huge in 1996. And somebody begged him to train their personal recruit, and his name is Paul Rumbuck, if you know who that is. He works for me now. And Duran sat down and said, before I train this guy, I got to read some books on leadership. You know, I know how to do it. Military, they don't do what you say to do. You go to jail. American Income, they don't go to jail. They quit. They resign. So he had to find a go-between of, how do I get this leadership thing? And that's when that talk that I just gave, that's when he created that talk. But what I would say, what you're probably struggling with, just hearing you, is, you know, you ever heard of the Bob syndrome? Bob has a problem with this person. Bob has a problem with this person. Bob has a problem with this person. The other people aren't the problem. The problem is Bob.
Right.
And so I'm not saying you're the problem. I'm saying you got to figure out, why is it that you're feeling this way? So if you've ever read Maxwell, it's the law of the lid, which is, if you're a 7, you can only train 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s, which on discipline level coming out of the military, you're probably a 10. Leadership coming out of the military, you're probably a little bit lower, because the military, you had to do what they said. That's it. I told you to be here at 7 o'clock. At 7:01, get out. Like, that's how Duran was. He, two weeks before he died, we had an MGA walk in to a meeting 5 minutes late with a cup of coffee, and or not 2 weeks before he died, 2 weeks before he was hospitalized. And he was like, get out, go drink your coffee. And I was just like, and that MGA, to this day, it still haunts him. He's like, that's the last meeting that he gave. Was throwing me out of the meeting. I said, but that's a great thing. So have you ever read The Law of the Lid?
I have. I'm actually in the middle of 21 Laws there. Actually been reading that. I should probably get a little bit more linear on one book, but I'm like within like 4 different books right now, and that is one of them.
Yeah, so 21, that's where it is. That's one of the laws, is the law of the lid. So until you up your game to 8, 9, 10 leadership, then you can't train those people. So did it ever happen to me? Yes, but it goes back to what Matt asked. I faked it. You know, I would go to Dron and go, this dude's way ahead of me, smarter than me, he knows math better than me, he's got this down, this down. And I was like, no big deal. You know, again, use Tommy for your lid. You know, use your MGA for your lid. So if they're feeling like there's different things. If they're feeling they're not getting the leadership from you, maybe you're being too hard on them. Or maybe this person's a 9 in disguise and you don't know it, and they're just eating you alive behind the scenes. That's what happened with me and Duran's former partner. Was he was a 9, 9.5, almost a 10. And then I got to 9.7 and he felt that. And it was me questioning him every day. Well, why did you do that? Why did you make that decision? I didn't think that was right. You shouldn't have talked to that person that way. You know, if you read Maxwell, it says this, 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 and this, and he's going, I haven't read a book in 5 years. What's going on here? So it comes back to reading, bending Tommy's ear. But I had many people that were way stronger than me, and I made them way stronger than me. I developed them into, top producers, top leaders, because didn't matter to me. If they're rocking and rolling, we're all rocking and rolling. So sometimes we have to put the ego to the side and go, you're better than me. I'm not going to say that to them, but this person's better than me. They're more talented than me. Or, it's the whole, who was the one that didn't practice? Allen Iverson. Who didn't practice? Allen Iverson was at the Yeah, you got Kobe Bryant, who's at every practice and does everything under the sun. Michael Jordan, they kill themselves. And then you've got someone with this raw talent over here that refuses to do what it is they do just because they're talented. And then I would have that discussion with them. Man, you're probably in a lot of ways stronger than I am in this. But if you're not going to practice, you're not going to do the deal, you're not going to put in the effort, then let's just not continue down this path. It's insane to do that.
Absolutely. The last part was like the icing on the cake. I feel like that's really what I needed. You see Vince shaking his head right there because he knows that definitely was the dinger right there. You know what I mean? Appreciate that. Absolutely. That'll definitely help a lot, moving forward. Thank you.
No problem. You got it. We good? All right, I'll let you guys run. Tommy, thanks. It's more of anytime I do one of these, it's more, I learn more, believe it or not, because as I'm doing it right now, my blood pressure's starting to raise because I'm going, are we doing these things that I'm prophesizing? Like, I know we do them. I know we have a system in play to do them, but are we really doing them at the level that we need to be doing? So you re-energized me. I appreciate it. Love you, Tommy. If you need anything, I'll hop on a call anytime.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Have a great one. Give it up for Brett, guys. Thanks again, brother.